So we're pressing go live now. It says you are live. Okay, so by clicking the link in my bio, it'll take you directly to my YouTube channel so that you can see the presentation live. So let me activate the chat. Come here for a tick.
Oh, it's already activated. They have to join the YouTube thing, so you can just end the live.
All right. Now I'm going to stay on here for a while with you guys until everybody clicks the link in the bio. If you're clicking the link in the bio to come over to see the live on YouTube, put a 1 in the chat for me. So when I'm ready to get started right here, what do I click?
It's already started. When you want the slide to start playing, just press the middle of the slide and it'll show an arrow option and you can just press it.
So can I do that now?
Well, people haven't joined yet, but if you want to.
So nobody's on.
I don't know.
Can we go to my YouTube page? Can we open up a tab to see? Or on the iPhone? Hey, we're just figuring it out. Greetings, Renzo2X. Hi. I'm just figuring out. I wanted to come live one because I was supposed to start at 4. Peace to the God. And my daughter's helping me figure out how to go live via StreamYard on my YouTube. So just give me a few more ticks and we're going to get started. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to click the link that's in my bio right now. And that's how it'll take you directly to it. Am I on?
Yeah.
Can I see? Via StreamYard on my YouTube. So just give me a few more ticks and we're going to get started. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to. Okay. So yeah. Someone's watching now, says one person. So the rest of you who are on here, hey everybody, Jay Robinson, Naz, Yum Yum. Greetings to everybody. Okay, so go ahead and click the link in the bio. Go to Golden She Eagle on YouTube if you don't want to click the link, but I don't understand why you would want to click the link. Oh, yeah, the link is trustworthy. It'll take you right there. We've tested it. So Renzo2X, are you on the YouTube yet? Is anybody having any trouble connecting? Hi there, Sent hi. Hi.
Put in the chat that to join YouTube and then just end the live.
Okay, so I'm putting in the chat. I'm about to end this live. Click the link in my bio to join my live presentation on YouTube right now. All right. I have a delay. Here on Instagram. Say hi. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna end the live. So click the link. Come on over. This is gonna be great. Join me. All right.
I'm just gonna show you the things. When you go here, it says next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bye.
So now I can start. They hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So live viewer comment show up on StreamYard. This is an example. Click on the comment to show it on the screen. Oh, okay. So this is my first time ever using StreamYard to go live on YouTube, right? So I'm gonna need for you all to please exercise some patience with your sister. This is very new for me, and I'm glad that it is. I'm glad that it's presenting a challenge for me to like learn different aspects of technology to be able to do this. I thank God for my daughter for helping me get through this. So I'm trying to see where if you leave a comment, leave a 1 in the chat so that I can ignite the live comment section, I think. So if you're on now with me and you hear me, can you please put a 1 in the chat? And once we get that taken care of, then we'll go ahead and get started, okay? Moy, come here. Moye. Tell me if anybody's putting anything in the chat. Where are you? Come in here. Bring the blue chair. I need you. No, get out. All right, 1 more minute. Can you go to the YouTube to see if anybody's in the live chat?
It's not showing in the chat.
It should be able to. Can I see it?
It says one person, but that's me. I kind of think maybe you should reschedule this for 6:30 because adults don't have spring break. So,
There were 4 or 5 people right here who didn't go over. So now I have to check to see if it's in my bio. I don't see it. You know what? The link's not in my bio, and we're just now. We're
yes,
just.
it is. Look.
Okay. So what happens if? Two watching now, which is me and you. All right, fine. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'm not sure if I've done anything wrong. Moy, sit down in this chair right here for the next 5 minutes. And if so, I will have it corrected by the next time. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start. So the name of this presentation pretty much is before and after the white man or colonization came, and the positions that matrilineal mother clans held here in North America, here in Turtle Island, before colonization came, and through war, through religious affliction, through paper genocide, the way the laws of the lands were all got manipulated and changed from matrilineal to not necessarily the patriarch, but the toxic patriarch. Okay. Wait a minute. I'm just going live on Instagram again because I'm not seeing anybody coming over, and you all can just listen to what it is that I am saying. All right. So to start the slideshow, I came across this really great PDF called Before and After the White Man, Indian Women, Property, Progress, and Power. And this PDF, which I'm sure I could put down in the description somewhere, you're going to have to be patient with me on that. If you're catching this on the live, you can click the link in my bio to come to the live presentation on YouTube. And if you're having issues, AMD Bates, if you're having any issues seeing the link in my bio on IG, can you just put it in the comment section? Because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. This is my first time going live through StreamYard on YouTube. Okay. But anyway, this PDF, the reason why I'm interested in sharing different portions of this PDF as a lesson plan, so to speak, is to really shed light on how women were actually in their divine feminine essence and energy and in alignment with the earth, the femininity of the earth, the feminine essence of the earth, the yin energy of the earth prior to colonization. Okay. And the purpose of doing this is because on this platform, which I call Divine Feminine Hierarchy, this is a space where divine women hold women to higher standards. The purpose of women holding women to higher standards is so that we can have a Sankofa moment, so to speak. I wouldn't know how to say a term, a saying like that in Algonquian or another like form of Niji language here on Turtle Island. Not yet, anyway. But the point of it is to look back and see what a mother clan was, what women did in relationship to tribal nations, what women did in relationship to men and to their children. One of the things that I found to just be so important and so critical is the role that white colonizers and non-melanated conquistadors had on the laws that were set in place, the laws of the land here. So if you are on YouTube, then you're seeing this slide, and this is one of the excerpts from the Before and After the White Man, Indian Women, Property, Progress, and Power PDF. So it says that, the religions of Abraham, when Europeans came to the shores of America, the culture was structured on Judeo-Christian values, which traditionally emphasized the importance of a patriarchal family and community. They used the Bible as justification for the second-class status of all Turtle Islanders, as well as of women. This status was based on the biblical story, Eve's formation from Adam's rib, and Eve's getting knowledge from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, leading to a subsequent fall from grace, and how Europeans believed God created woman for the sole purpose of being his helper, not his equal, right? I wanted to start off with this because when Europeans came to the shores of Turtle Island, what they actually bore witness to was women who were a part of governance, women whose mother clans owned the land, distributed the land via lineage to her offspring. It was not the men who did this. When they came upon the shores of North America, they saw that the men hunted. The men were the warriors. They were the protectors. The men built every structure here in Turtle Island. They were mound builders. They were building the pyramids. They were building everything that was physically erected from the earth here on Turtle Island. The women ran the agricultural aspects of it. They took care of the land, they grew the land, they stored the food, they took care of the home, they reared the children, they educated the children. They sat on tribal council and offered counseling to tribal members of their tribal nations to keep the spiritual morale and the character of the people in the heights, which really wasn't an issue because it was matriarchal from the standpoint that they believed in the cosmic mother. They believed in the earth being feminine, the earth being the mother, which some of these excerpts that I'm going to be sharing right now state that as well. Okay. So when European people came here, they came here waving their Christian flags. They came here with their Roman Greco ideology, which is really seated in men having power over women, men having power over children. A lot of their culture is seated around or on pedophilia, which I'll be doing a presentation about that in the very near future, where it was a part of a young boy's status quo to be educated by an older man who took him under his wing, but as his lover, though. I mean, they came with their perceptions of life being very opposite the nature of how our ancient ancestors coexisted. Okay. And it's very important for that to be the foundation to springboard and segue from, because that pathology that they had when they came and saw the natural balance that existed between women and men here, they were disgusted by it and they were threatened by it, and they worked through religion, through the implementation of patriarchal marriage, which we weren't doing here, which I'm going to share some of that too, to help confuse and manipulate the men, especially the Niji men, the tribal men here, because they were presenting, information to them like the men are supposed to be in charge of the women, the men are supposed to be in charge of the land, the men are supposed to be in charge of what gets passed down to the men. And our whole way of existing after wars, tribal wars, because some tribes was with what's the word I found out, the acculturation, the acculturation, which is the assimilation into a different culture, typically the dominant one. So it's like some tribes was with assimilating because they saw a benefit from all the gaslighting and the hype, I guess, the Europeans was telling them of what they was going to do and where they come from, even though they were running from tyranny. From Britain and Germany and France, they were running from that, coming to the land of milk and honey for new beginnings where they could destroy us and take over what we have, right? So they was in the ear of our people. Okay, so I just read that first slide. So I'm gonna go ahead to the second slide. The first imagined Indian woman in the Europeans' experience was the North American continent itself. Artists in the 16th century depicted Native women as the continent, as voluptuous, naked, and reclining, representing sexual rewards for anyone who could conquer the virgin soil to her caretakers, and implying that there was a need to clothe them in superior European civilization, because American Indian tribes' views regarding gender did not mirror the white patriarchal values. Like the people from the West, native cultures were deemed inferior. Okay. So this is very interesting because when they got here, they understood there was a balance of the matriarch and the patriarch. They understood that the women held power and held powerful positions. They just didn't like it. They just didn't want it because it went against their ideology of patriarchy, from their one God, their one white male God, and everything that trickled down from that. And it was by way of the multitudes of wars that were erupting all throughout Turtle Island, aka North America, that diminished the numbers of tribal members drastically, as well as divided tribal nations that might have gotten along at one point drastically. And what began happening all across Turtle Island is when a lot of tribes were reduced because of the wars, the remaining survivors, especially the women and most importantly the children, were taken to be put on these plantations. They were taken under the roofs and the care of the colonizers who have now taken over the land, right? And every plantation was equipped with a church, and every plantation was equipped with a school. And this is where the Indian reform schools come into play. You know what I mean? Because within those schools, they were taught they were taught how to become indoctrinated in Western culture and to unlearn and to forget, and after a couple centuries be so far removed from the ways of life, the natural law of living on this land of their ancient ancestors, that they have evolved into our generations that we are now seeing today, that are completely separated from the divine feminine, the matrilineal law of the land, and the balanced perspectives and overstandings between women and men that just existed naturally before colonization. Okay. European people came with their lust. You know what I mean? They came with their lust and they came with their perversions. You know, we experience sensuality and sexuality from higher vernaculars, higher panoramic views. So us having our skin bare wasn't seen through veils of lust. It wasn't seen that type of way. You know, it was seen as beautiful, and it was seen as a natural expression depending on the tribe and what region of the country they were in, and whether it was cold or whether it was hot, and you know, certain aspects that were definitely determined determine what was being worn and what was not being worn, right? And so the audacity of the ego of European men was that to gaslight us and to make us think that what we had was wrong, and that it wasn't good enough, and that what they had was better, and that by adapting their ways then we can truly be superior like them. That was always the hustle. That was always the illusion that was sold to our people. And some people fell for it and not. And I'm going to have to say a lot of the mothers clans wasn't falling for it, because they're like, okay, so if we start giving all of our lands over to you, how are we going to be able to pass lands down to our offspring? How are we supposed to thrive off of the land? You know what I mean? Grow our food, have, you know, our resources. That is a form of wealth for certain, you know. So there was a lot of pushback from a lot of the mother clans, a lot of the matrilineal rulership that was here in Turtle Island. But after, you know, a couple hundred years, by the 1800s, you know what I mean? We're talking about by the 1800s, they have been going through these transitions of tribes trying to assimilate some of them into Western culture, you know, for hundreds of years. So this didn't happen overnight, of course. This was over a period of time that has brought us to an epoch of time where we are completely removed from our power and who we are, right? Um, okay, so this is real interesting. Let me go ahead to the next slide. This one is a brief note on female spirituality. Women play a central role in many tribal religious traditions. This is prior to the white man, the colonization. Because remember, this is called before and after the white man, Indian women, property, progress, power. So it's going to speak, some of these excerpts that I have speak to how it was before the colonizers reached the shores, right? So women play a central role in many tribal religious traditions. Native American religions envision the planet Earth as a woman who provides for her children. Indian women were traditionally taught to look at themselves as the earth, as a giver and sustainer of life. Thus, tribal culture considers women sacred because they bring life into the world and are consequently respected as the center of their nation and essential to the continued prosperity of their people. Okay, so let me elaborate on some of this here because I want for women to start enter under an understanding that there was a time where you were only divine. You weren't referring to yourself with any type of negative terminology, any type of negative adjective. You knew that you were a goddess. You knew that you were a mother. You knew that you were great and that you had great responsibilities within your tribe to keep your tribe continuing in prosperity. Here it says women were sacred because they bring life into the world and are consequently respected as the center of their nation. Now, how many of you have heard it said a nation can only rise as high as its woman? And I think sometimes, especially like in the woke community or in the conscious community, we'll echo something like that because it sounds deep, but not really critically think about what that actually really means. Because if our ancient ancestors knew and lived by universal law that the woman is sacred because she brings life into the world and is respected as the center of the nation, and if to this day you'll hear people say a nation can only rise as high as its woman, and then to add to that, let me just go around a little bit. Let me just take you here right quick, because to add to that, you take the etymology of words, like you take the word woman. Man is within the word woman, is it not? When you write out the word female, male is within the word female. When you write the word she, he is within the word she. When you write out the word feminine, men is within the word feminine. And another universal saying that we've been hearing, all of our lives, ladies first. Don't make me play Latifah. Ooh, ladies first, ladies first, ladies first. Ooh, ladies first, ladies first, ladies first. Like, that's not just blowing smoke. That is a form of universal law because we all come through the mother, right? So if our ancient ancestors knew it to be that woman was respected as the center of the nation and essential to continue prosperity of their people, that's not because we were just birthing people and chest feeders and bleeders and the other stupid ass sayings, that you have certain groups of people using to try to define the woman. And this is why I combat and I war against this so much, because women have got to evolve beyond referring to yourselves as bitches, sluts, hoes, and everything else. Because once y'all accepted that as being a definitive way to define who you are, anybody from anywhere else could throw any kind of low vibrational, demeaning title to you. And because indigenous women have a complex with being allies to people, you always want to be somebody's ally. So you just accept whatever they give you. You accept whatever, you take it. And Spirit has shown me that that is a direct representation of over the centuries having our powers removed from us with the help of some of our own needy people, our own men who was like, yeah, we want to be like the patriarch, we want we should own the land. Yeah, we should own the land. But look, hold up. As it's going to say in like one of these excerpts, right? Or even how it said, hold up, let me take it back right quick. Let me take it back to sugar, honey, I sent to you. Anyway, okay, yeah. Because American Indian tribes' views regarding gender did not mirror the white patriarchal views of gender. What were the white patriarchal views of gender when they came to the shores of Turtle Island and saw that the women ruled the agricultural aspects of the land and that the men went out and hunted and protected and built up Turtle Island? What did they do? They was like, oh no, a woman's role is to just be in the house. That's it. She don't own nothing. She don't have nothing. She don't have nothing to pass along to the children. The woman's role is in the house. They came here with the game plan to put us in the position that they had European women in those earliest centuries when they began to come and infiltrate Turtle Island. What were their gender role perspectives of Niji men, of the Indian men, the warriors, the protectors, the ones who provided the resources? They went out and got the resources and brought them back to the tribal nations. They built the structures, they built the mound builders, all those. What were their gender perspectives? That they needed to farm the land. You can look this up for yourself, okay? That they needed to be the ones farming the land. And so what ended up happening was they legalized marriage in a way because we weren't practicing marriage the way Western civilization, well, the way Europeans who came here were. All right. I've got something on that too. Here, let me go to the next slide. And thank you for being patient with me, everybody. This is my first time doing something like this, so it's like my brain is working overtime. Hey, everybody who's in the chat for the live. I wanted y'all to click the link in the bio so you could just come over to the YouTube, but I don't know if it's set up properly. So this is why I still have the live going on IG. Okay, anyway. Real property. Okay, before and after the white man, real property. You ought to hear and listen to what we women shall speak, for we are the owners of this land and it is ours. On the land east of the Mississippi River, Native Americans had engaged in agricultural activity for generations. Indian women not only oversaw this activity, they also held the property rights in the land and in their homes under tribal, I guess that says rule. I'm sorry, my picture's blocking it on YouTube if you're on there. Tribes-based property rights to land on continuous use, rather transferability of ownership, which was central to Western notions of well, the word shown is descent. But what the Europeans found when they got to Turtle Island was like, we weren't like, oh, well, we own this and we own that. The nations, how they were so-called divided amongst us, that got passed on through the different bloodlines in the Western mind, where they were coming from, Britain and Germany and France and so on and so forth. They had the type of hierarchy where they had the king. They had a king or they had the queen, and the king and the queen owned the lands and chose to who lived where, and then you had to pay taxes and stuff like that, right? But it wasn't like that here. And so walking in our highest heights as women, we had the pride and the power of being property. We had the rights of the property. And think about it like this. There was no homelessness. Okay. When European people stole the land, when they snatched the land away, snatched it away the ways that they did, extreme poverty has been set in place for hundreds of years with Aboriginal Americans, right? Because the wealth is in the land. Because once you have the land, you can build on it, you can grow on it, you can sell from it, you can barter with it, you can do all sorts of things. The wealth is in the land. There is wealth in other things, but land, owning the rights to land, was how we all thrived. We didn't just survive here, we thrived. You look at the lack of leases indigenous men have at this time. You look at the epidemic where a lot of indigenous men, they're either living with their mom or their grandmas or their aunties or their sisters, or they're living with the woman that they're in a relationship with or kicking it with, whatever may have you. That didn't exist before colonization. Men lived on their mother's land, and the men only left the land if they chose to marry a woman and live with her in her mother clan, which was very popular. It was pretty much the norm. Yeah, the men, if they married or they wanted to be, with the woman, they would live with her on her property. And you want to know what else? The rearing of the children was solely on her, and more so on her male family members, the brothers, the uncles, the father, the grandfathers. They took care and they reared the children more, because the husband was out being the warrior and the protector and the builder and all that other type of stuff. Yes, the traditional ways that a lot of the matrilineal tribes did things here in North America is the complete opposite of European rule, because they run the shit now. Okay, but it wasn't always like that. And you know what? If a woman and a man, a Niji woman and man, decided they didn't want to be together anymore, they didn't have to sign a paper. The man left, and you know what he left with? He left with the property that he owned, that he brought with him to live with his wife, to live with his woman. And when things went, and it was like, you know what, we gotta go our separate ways, he took his stuff, his belongings, and he went back to his mother clan. He wasn't homeless or living on his homie couch. There was always land. There was always food. There was always, there was always wealth and success within the nations that tribes were a part of. Okay, so when Europeans came, they was like, wait a minute, one person needs to run all of this. And listen, they formed like a 3-tier government. When you look at the language of the American government, the chief of staff, they use chief a lot. What do they call the president? They call the president commander in chief. Where they get chief from? They get chief from us. But the three-tier government that they chose, that they set up, they removed the matrilineal rule out of it completely. See, in your mother's clan, everybody who's listening, who is aware that they are an Aboriginal American, that they are a Turtle Islander, your mother's clans had the land and the wealth that was given unto the daughters and the sons. All right, and passed the property rights on to kinfolk. This is what we did from every corner of North America. And quiet as kept. This is a feminine planet. This is Mother Earth. No matter where you went, there were melanated people with 9 ether hair or different versions of ether hair. No matter where you went, there were people with similar phenotypes. No matter where you went, the divine feminine was honored, and worshipped just as much as the divine masculine was. And their setup was not too far off than how ours was. While tribes like the Iroquois and Hopi had complex systems for real property descent and transfer, such was not always the case in Indian country. For agriculturally dependent tribes such as the Arikara, Hidatsa, Mandan, and Omaha, simple occupancy constituted ownership. Any abandoned land was available for use. Importantly, when there was an ownership dispute, the women who claimed ownership of the property were responsible for negotiation and settlement. We all had our roles to play. Tribal councils. This is what I really want people to understand. If you want a nation, if you want a tribal nation for your tribes, you're going to have tribal council. You're going to have to reinstate the mother clan. The mother clan, the tribal council, and the mother clans, they choose who the chief is. It's all there. The research is all there. I'm not making up anything. I'm too grown for that. I don't have time for that. I'm busy. I'm telling you through my research. And if you researched, it would be so simple to find. The tribal clans chose the chief. The women chose the chief. And if the chief at any point ever wasn't performing his duty sufficiently, the women in the tribal clan, the tribal council, removed his headdress, removed him being chief to replace him with another. Now, yes, the majority of the time, the chiefs were men. And that's not because they necessarily made better chiefs. The chiefs were men because they had the responsibility and role to go out and travel abroad and speak with other men, and whatever was spoken about, whatever was dealt with, was brought back to the tribal council. Matter of fact, before they went, the tribal council sat with the chief and was like, okay, this is what we're out to achieve by you correlating and meeting with chief such and such, or the people who were coming up on, this side of Turtle Island, coming upon the shores. This is what we can discuss. This is what we can hope to achieve, so that the women could stay home with the children, rear the children, teach the children, take care of the land, make sure the food, the agriculture, and everything is on point. The village is on point. Everybody's needs is in the village is on point by way of counseling. The men went out and did the physical things. So there are times where there are women chiefs. And you will find the majority of the time when there were women chiefs, it was a woman who did not have children, not because she couldn't, but because spirit, maybe a shaman, the spirit came down that she was the one who was meant to lead and be chief. And she had the freedom and the space to do so because she didn't have to raise children and rear children and educate children and do the role that other women in tribal council or within the mother clan or within the tribal nation did. So yes, there were women chiefs too. But who was chief and who wasn't was actively decided by the woman clans. You know what else was decided? When to go to war and when not to go to war. Because it was the mothers who give birth to the sons, the uncles, the nephews, the fathers, the grandmothers. It was the women. So we weren't so quick to just send our men out to war. You know what I mean? We had to counsel on that. We had to well them on. We had to pray on it. You know what I mean? Maybe like smoke the peace pipe, do some rituals, wait till an eclipse or wait till a full moon, use the moon magic to make a decision to see if the ancestors and the ethers agreed with it. We didn't just do things humbug like nakeds in the hood do with hits. They be putting out hits on people and killing people they don't have no business killing and accidentally killing people. It wasn't like that. Our wars weren't done that way. There's a spiritual way to actually war, and our ancient ancestors once did it. Okay, so getting back to what I was saying. Let me go ahead to the next slide. A number of Indian tribes were, and in many cases still are, organized under a matrilineal clan system. Traditionally, it was the women of the tribe who selected and had the corresponding authority to remove the tribe's chief. Okay, I already said that. For example, the Iroquois tribe, if the women were, if they weren't satisfied no longer with the chief's leadership, they impeached him, and the clan removed his headdress. Also, many tribes, they would initiate or end warfare, and even more importantly, had some power, I guess that says, as tribal council members. All right, so look. One of the things that I'm finding with the bad bitch pathology, or a lot of the abuse women suffer at the hands of other women, is because we don't know who we are. We don't know where we come from. Even those of us who are rediscovering and relearning that we are actually the indigenous people of America, what our ancient people actually did and how they lived and thrived prior to colonization behooves most of us. This is why I find it to be of the utmost importance to begin uncovering, unearthing, and unlocking the laws of the land so that women and men, but women especially, can put down a lot of the oppressed and subjugated perceptions that they have about themselves, because your ancient mothers ruled. Like, period. They ruled. So real quick, when you look at marriage today and how it's basically like a business contract, what the colonizers did once they got people like really hooked on Christianity and, losing access to their language and their tribal traditions and stuff like that, and decided to, acclimate themselves to the new Western way of living and existing and being, marriage took on a patriarchal turn where everything was owned by the man, everything was owned by the husband. This is on up to like the 1960s even. This is how long and dreadful this bullshit lasted, right? But anyway, if the husband owned land, the only way the woman could own it is if he died, right? The patriarchal marriage was set up that the name, the wealth, anything that the husband owned, he was the one who passed it down to the children. The way the patriarchal marriage was set up was also that if the husband sought to divorce or leave the woman, he could just up and leave and was not responsible for taking care of the children. And we all know, many of us have grown up without a father. Okay, we all know that pathology had to come from somewhere, and I'm telling you, it was created through legalities, through the patriarchal system of marriage. Okay, where all power was stripped from the woman, from the divine feminine woman, and all placed in the hands of the patriarch and the hands of men. And I must say that over the last 600 years, men have done a doozy in destroying Turtle Island, in destroying relationships, in destroying masculinity, in destroying femininity, in destroying children, destroying the land, destroying the earth. It is destructive because they systematically removed and oppressed the mother, who's back. Okay, men are going through hell right now who are trying to fight against the divine feminine, the divine matriarch. The divine feminine is within every man. You yin yang anyway. You come from a woman. So we were all mistaught and misled. And what I'm sorry. One of the easiest ways to do that was when the tribes began to get thinned out from all the wars, and the Europeans had access to the children and put them in these Indian reform schools and, baptized them in the churches and got them into their Christianity and so on and so forth. The children were so easy to tell anything to and to manipulate. And those children grew up into women and men who had children, who grew up to women and men and to be women and men, and so on and so forth, until you have us here now, scrambling, some of us trying to remember, trying to know who we are. Why isn't it working? Why isn't women being submissive to men working in our society, in our communities? Why isn't it working that men have rulership over women? Why does it seem like women are just so hard and masculine and don't want to do what men say when men say it and all that other type of stuff? Because that mitochondrial DNA, that genetic memory that comes out in the ways we walk, talk, think, feel, do, exist, be, eat, shit, sleep, live, die, breathe, all that. We remember even when we don't remember. That is not the natural trajectory of the divine feminine. Divine feminine is not beneath or led by no one. The only person who leads me is my higher self. The only person that can lead any man that I would like to, be with or be in a relationship is his higher self. But there are rules and regulations to this thing. And if you could think about it, especially if you old school, you hear the saying like, men, a man and a wife, they'll be like, yeah, the man, he the ruler, he do everything. And then they be like, yeah, but at home when nobody watching is really the woman. That's it. Kind of thing. Stupid shit like that. Just to avoid coming forth with the truth. And now that Turtle Island is coming back alive with the truth of our people, we are people of the sun, right? And we lived in alignment with the laws of the land. Because that is resurfacing at such an astronomical speed and rate, the role of the matrilineal is coming right along with it. And what's going to end up happening is there are going to be men who aren't going to be able to deal with it. And the new earth, the rising of the 5D, where, there's no suffering and there's no ego and there's no pain and they're not going to be able to go. And they're not going to evolve into that. And the women who are stuck on hoe culture and bitch culture and being cruel to other women and not being seated in their divine femininity, y'all not going to be able to elevate either. You're too fucking cruel to do that. You'd have to sit with yourself and heal your traumas and your triggers and learn where they come from, where they got initiated and started in your childhood, so that you can forgive and release and make space for your powers to be ignited. That's happening right now with people who are in divine alignment with their higher selves. That's what divine feminine hierarchy is all about, is divine women holding women to a higher standard. Because if you want to evolve, and I mean truly evolve, where you are seated back or seated in your power, then knowing where you come from, knowing how your ancient mothers did, and bringing that, ushering that into the present moment, and learning how to fine tune it and add to it to help co-create the future that you want as a mother council, as a clan mother, or as a tribal council for a nation of people, because we all want land, we all want sovereignty, we all want to be able to be somewhere where we have access to clean food, clean water, where we got access to things to build, and we got access to financial growth and wealth and systems to be able to live very, very well and pass it along to our children. But this whole toxic patriarch that we are under, it's the duty of the divine feminine and the divine masculine to see it for what it is and see how it does not fit in any way, shape, or form into what we are co-creating for ourselves, where we're standing in our power and we're being true to ourselves, true to who we are. Native women lost the power and respect tribal traditions had offered them for generations. American courts construed the informal process of tribal divorce to mean that husbands, Indian or white, would terminate their marriages by simply leaving their native wives and children. I mean, was that not happening all throughout the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, on up until this day? It's cheaper to keep her, but you still go out and you start a new family somewhere else, or you do whatever and don't take care of your kids. This is the pathology here. This is the behavioral disorders that we're seeing dominate our society today, our communities today, which I don't even call communities, because community, if you look at the etymology of the word, if you break it down, commune means to come together. Unity means to come together. Where is that in the Black community or the indigenous community? I'm not seeing it. Okay. And I think one of the reasons why we're not seeing it is because we're not aware of how our ancient, we got to tap into our mitochondria. We're aware of how our ancient ancestors communed. Because that's what we did. We communed like for real on everything, right? So could terminate their marriages by simply leaving their native wives and children, and thereafter had no legal obligation to provide for their families. Okay. So there are people who want to blame it on family court. They want to blame it on welfare. They want to blame it on the Moynihan report. They want to blame it on women. All right. They want to blame it on women, that women put men out of the home, that women did all these things to men when it has always been the government that systematically for hundreds of years have set this wave in motion. Okay. That gave the patriarch rulership over the matriarch. But it wasn't in divine ways, because the divinity comes through balance. Don't nobody have nothing over nobody. And that's what everybody going to have to get through their thick skull if you want to evolve and stay in higher heights. Because right now, what we're seeing play out in our communities and our society is some real low vibrational 3D bullshit. It's some reptilian behavior bullshit, reptilian behavior off of these descendants of these European ancestors who came here and did all the things that they did, that have been kept in place and protected through law here. All right. Additionally, the U.S. government did not recognize Indian women as property owners. So a Native woman's husband, who could be Indian or not, could use the property as he saw fit. Excuse me. Or even dispose of her share of tribal property. And that's some evil shit right there. These policies had a devastating effect, not only on Indian women, but also on tribal cultures whose ways of functioning up to them remained unchanged. I need for y'all to hear me on this. When tribes started siding with the Europeans, warring with other nations, because the Europeans, the different types of unmelanated men was in, our tribal men's ears, like, you go fuck them up. Here are these guns. Here's this gunpowder. Go over there, take care of that, handle that business. And then when you do, we shake hands on, and you won't have this much land, and I'm gonna have this much of the land, and we're going to be in business together, and it's just going to be so great because this is how men do. And a lot of our men, our ancient tribesmen, obviously lost themselves in the glory of whiteness. And if white men came over here not giving a shit about European men, they was throwing them broads at the men over here like, here's big fucker. Yeah, great. You sign over about 2,500 acres of your land on the southeast end right there. And You can bang her whenever you want. Yeah, she's the best thing. She's better than your women. Here, look, she has on a corset and a big hat and a long skirt and gloves. She's pure. She covers herself. She follows the Western European way. She's the mother of Jesus and stuff. Like, yeah, that's the one you want. And over time, through that all that indoctrination, what niggas doing out here on the street? What the passport brothers doing out here on the passport bros doing out on the street? They out here acting like bleaching their melanin through the womb of a white woman is the wisest thing that they can do, because once upon a time it got started being whispered in their ear by the conquistadors. These policies had a devastating effect on not only the Indian women, but also the tribal cultures. So when they took the women out, don't you get it? They took the tribal nations out. A nation can only rise as high as its woman. The woman is considered to be the earth because she gives birth, she brings life, she is the center of the nation. Do I have to scroll back? Do I have to scroll back to that excerpt? Under, and overstand that. Because the ideology still exists to this day, that as long as the woman is oppressed, that some way, somehow, indigenous men are going to have power. But yet y'all don't have power over the conquistadors, over the conquerors. And you know this already. You know. None of us do. This is why reinstating natural law back into existence, because the government, these different levels of hierarchy, toxic patriarchal hierarchy, are fucking crumbling. I mean, they and give thanks to Cosmic Mama for that. Mother Earth for that. Because Mother Earth, Cosmic Mama, has a Sekhmet side to her. She got a ruthless side to her. She's not playing. This earth is being purged. A lot of people dying young as shit. A lot of people are checking out because the frequency here is changing. And you want to hold on to that frequency that you're supposed to oppress the center of the nation, the woman? You ain't going nowhere. You're not evolving. Your frequency is going to stay low. Women of all generations and races. Oh, did I mention that this PDF before and after the white man Indian women property progress of power was written by a white woman, Kathleen A. Ward? You Google the PDF, her name will come up. And I have loads of research, but I wanted to start off with this. This is my first time doing this, right? But listen to this. Women of all generations. This is how she ended the PDF, which was like over 20-something pages. But women of all generations and races have made contributions, large and small, to make life in America better. That's true and it's false. Better for who? However, it is the enduring spirit of the Native American woman that is said to be present in the great land, protecting all things. And she is the most powerful American woman of all. One more time for the people who deaf, dumb, and blind in the back. Let me help y'all out. However, it is the enduring spirit of the Native American woman that is said to be present in the great land, protecting all things. And she is the most powerful American woman of all. Now, if you follow my page, you know that I know we are the indigenous Aboriginal Americans of Turtle Island, right? Ain't nobody over here calling ourselves native. That was brought into the mix after using the census to pay for genocide indigenous Americans, right? Into black and colored and mulatto and African American and all that other kind of stuff, right? I'm not native. I'm Aboriginal Turtle Islander. Okay. Siksika, Blackfoot, Piadia, and Cherokee. Okay. So when it's saying this Native American woman stuff, that part go in one ear and out the other. They talking about me. My Niji sisters listening, they talking about you. Okay. Not the Asiatic or the Asian, more European $5 Indians that call themselves the red man. We're not talking about them. Okay. They are visitors to this land. They are native to this land. Native means that they came here from somewhere else and they set up shop. They made Turtle Island home, but Turtle Island is not the home of their ancient ancestors. But y'all supposed to know that already. If not, what you waiting for? Go learn something new today. Damn. You know what I'm saying? So, all this is to say, sum this up in a nutshell, and then I'm going to end this, right? Learning how to redefine yourself in ways that are in alignment with source, with your ancient ancestors, with your higher self, God within. You know what I mean? Is of is nothing more important than that. Because when everything that you use to define yourself or the way you talk to yourself is derogatory and low vibrational, that's where you shall remain. Now, I've had my moments where I've used the word bitch. You know, it's infectious. It's everywhere. It's all over social media. It's all in the shows and the movies and the TVs. Best friend. You can watch shows with, like, Harlem, or you could watch God, I don't know what shows they got now. Anyway, any of your shows where is needy women on the screen, is indigenous women, they be like, bitch, yeah, bitch, remix, bitch. It's just like, when some of y'all are direct descendants of a clan mother, I know I am. Some of y'all are descendants of ancient ancestors who own massive acres of land, who helped to take care of nations of tribals people, who were revered and honored, who walk with their head held high, didn't depend on a man. She had the land ownership and the rights to it. And she didn't dangle that over a man's head either. Like, I'm the one with the rights to the land, whatever may have you. The man was the one who came and built on the land. You couldn't have one without the other. You couldn't have a nation, one without the other. But because we're the ones who give life, we're the center of it. I'm the center of a nation. I'm no bitch. I'm no slut. I'm no hoe. I'm no hot girl. I'm no pit bull in a mini skirt. I am a clan mother. I am a healer. I am a teacher. I'm a protector. And I don't need teaching. I fucking kill. Physically, I kill ideologies. I kill oppressive systems. The Sekhmet, the Oya, the Kalima, the dark feminine energy. It's all up in the divine feminine. I don't have to think like a man and act like a man and do like a man do. I tap into my dark feminine, my power, my goddess power. Even in my dark feminine, that is still within the goddess energy. Bitch, hoe, slut, ain't. It's under the goddess foot. Women are out here getting shitted on. My IG just ended. So for those who still here, my IG just ended. Women getting shitted on from each other because we don't have respect for ourselves or for one another. We don't know who we are. And if by chance you already know or you are learning your tribes, I'm going to need for you to take some time to learn what the tribal people did spiritually, socially, communally, government wise, leadership wise, and see what resonates with you. See what your dreams say, what your intuitive voices say, what your higher voice says. And then I want you to take that and take action into co-creating that with your family or land that you're getting. You have to understand that there was a time men on purpose listened to what women told them to do. Let me say that again. I'm not talking about bitches telling men what to do. I'm talking about divine feminine women who are channeling insight. They are channeling insight from a higher power, from source, from their higher self. They detox, they fast, they pray, they meditate, they chant. They keep their womb healthy. They keep their children clean and healthy. They protect their homes. They protect who they take care of. Divine feminine women. There was a time where men could not conduct themselves. Divine men, divine masculine men. I ain't talking about Pookie in them. I'm not talking about a nigga mentality type of male. I'm talking about divine masculine men who could read the room. They knew the earth was feminine. They knew that the great mother was in all things, including themselves. Any and everything they did, they sat with divine women. It came discussed it. It came to agreements about what will be best for the tribe, for the nation. This is what councils did. It never was all men. It was women and men. And until we stand covered, till we bring it back, till we bring it forward to the here and now, indigenous people will stay stuck. Because like the first slide that I read, the three Abrahamic religions made it to the shores of North America. That's Christianity, that's Islam, and that's Judaism, where there's all a patriarchal male God. There are a lot of people out here who believe a whole lot of different things, have different belief systems. And I'm not saying to don't have different belief systems, but you got to start learning the universal laws that your ancient ancestors that y'all are now aware of implemented in their day-to-day existence. Okay? So I'm gonna end with that. And for everyone who came through, I just want to thank you. And keep your ears and your eyes and your hearts and your third eye open for more content. I'm going to keep practicing StreamYard and doing lives like this until I get this shit down pat. Okay, so I can just be like up and running and smooth selling and not, be like a neophyte at this. But you got to start somewhere. And this week I decided to start whether I'm scared, start whether I don't know everything, start whether I'm afraid, start where even if I feel like I can't do it. And that's what I chose to step out and do. So I hope that everyone within the sound of my voice can appreciate that. Um, Feel free to respectfully light up the comment section. Let me know what you think. And I will see you again, divine willing, the next time. All right. So peace, love, and light to everybody. Feathers up. You know what I mean? Keep your third eye calcified. And remember, this is the divine feminine hierarchy where divine women hold women to higher standards, which in turn helps everybody because the nation, the woman is the center of the nation. So it says, so it is, so smote it be. And I'm out.